I have created a checklist of 8 pearls of wisdom just for you, and they're in a particular order. This checklist, I thought, how can I give this away to my audience? Maybe just put it on my website and download the free PDF, but I don't have a free website. So here's what I'm gonna do. It's only $1. I put it on my Etsy store, click on the link in the video description, and donate to the cause. Donate to support the channel, pay the dollar. This is a checklist you can print out and you can put it in your shop, you can laminate it, and it'll always be there for you to reference. So go grab it. These are for you. Also, please forgive me, my horrible voice. It is what it is. It's on vacation right now. I'm sure it'll be back at a different time. But let's get into these 8 pearls of wisdom of this glue up checklist to provide stress-free glue ups. The first thing you're gonna do is check your space and check your lighting. Lighting is crucial. You wanna be able to see your project from all angles. Don't be afraid to bring in a desk lamp or even a headlamp. I use these all the time for different stuff. You wanna see the glue squeeze out. You wanna see where your seams line up or where they don't line up to create that reveal. So get great lighting and make sure you're using the right space. You might need to use your workbench, or it might be too big of a glue up and your workbench is too small. You're gonna have to go down to the floor. So before you get all your stuff on your table and you find out that it's just not big enough for what you wanna do, you might have to utilize the floor. Or maybe get some sawhorses out with a piece of plywood on top to get that space that you need. So check your flooring and check your space. The second thing you're gonna do is what I call the dry up. You're gonna basically assemble your piece in its dry form, no glue whatsoever. This is gonna be a crucial point, and it's gonna allow you to see what you didn't expect. You're gonna learn a lot about your project just by doing the dry up. And as you can see, I got a project here myself, making some cabinets, and I'm just putting it together. And when I see this, I can see the cut imperfections. I can see where one piece might be too big. I can see where it might be too small. What do I do to fix it? This is the process where you're gonna be able to visualize how many clamps you're gonna need. Get your clamps out, put them in the right position where you're gonna need them, where you need to provide each one of those pressure points. You'll know, do I need pipe clamps? Do I need bar clamps? Do I need parallel clamps? Do I need spring clamps? What kind of clamps are you gonna need? C-clamps? Who knows? But this is the point where you can really see and actually get those clamps out and check out what's gonna be most beneficial for a streamlined glue up so you're not stressing and running for those clamps later when the glue is about to dry. Also, you'll be able to see what are the hard spots to get to. You'll be able to look at piece orientation. Here's a cabinet, I have it on its back. I have pieces underneath it propping up the back piece, and those pieces allow for the dado spacing. But that's this glue up. I know that now because I'm doing the dry up. Or maybe I want to glue the cabinet standing up. That's a point where these pieces are at risk of falling farther and off the bench if it comes apart during the dry up. These are the things we learned during this point. So number 2, do your dry up first. The third thing, and this is so important, I can't stress it enough, evaluate if you have enough time to actually complete the glue up. Too many times have I got prepared to do a glue up and realized, oh, I gotta pick up the kids in like 10 minutes. Or I have to go get my wife something at the store because she wanted me to do it at this time. Or I gotta be at a meeting for such and such. And I realized I'm just gonna stop right here. I know I got 10, 15, 20 minutes of free time before I gotta do that, but I'm not even gonna get into the glue up because I have to evaluate the time that I have. We do projects, we go to what we've gotta do, and then we come back to those projects. Some days you may only get 30 minutes, some days you have all day. That's just the nature of the beast. Full-time woodworker is a little bit different than a hobby woodworker who's fitting in the time to do their projects, and gluing up is not one of those things that you can interrupt. It's not one of those times where you're gonna stop and look at your phone or answer those phone calls. When I get knocks on this door, when people are coming in and I got glue drying, they just have to wait. They just have to wait because the time is ticking, glue is gonna dry, and I wanna make sure this glue up goes smoothly. So evaluate how much time you have available. The fourth thing is protect your clamps from dripping glue. Gravity is gravity. You can't beat it, and glue will come down. And you want these clamps to last as long as possible. And when you get glue that dries on these clamps, it is a pain in the butt to get that off. So just do the prep work in advance. There's a couple of different ways that you can accomplish this. My favorite way is tape. Look at where it's coming down, put a little piece of tape on it. Don't squeeze and get it all the way on the sides. Just let it open up like this and flare. That way it's easier to take off. See those access points where the glue is gonna hit that clamp, and put that tape there. Another great trick that I have learned is paste wax. You can actually wax up your clamp bars, and that will prevent it from sticking. So it'll just run right off, or you can take it right off very easily. So try that tip as well. I really like that one. Protect your clamps. Number 5 is choose the correct glue. I'm gonna put these into 2 different categories. There you go. These glues over here, dry fast. And these glues for smaller, simpler, less stressful glue ups. This glue over here gives you time. This is gonna save your butt. Always have this on hand. One of the benefits of this glue is actually waterproof and made for the exterior as well, which is the same as this one, but this one dries a lot slower. This one over here is for the cheapo. If you don't want to spend the extra $1 or $2 to get this, then you get that one. But ultimately, you're gonna have those 2 glues in your shop, and that's for a stress-free glue up. The 6th thing is a checklist within the checklist. You wanna make sure you have all of the tools you're gonna need for the glue up. And that might change from preference to preference. For me, I can use a variety of different things. Number 1, this bowl, fill it with water. I got a rag that can help remove some of the glue squeeze out. I also like to use a straw to get in those crevices to get the glue squeeze out as well. It's a really helpful trick. Any glue applicators that you need, the right brushes, the trays, the spreaders. You might have one of those rolly things to get a bunch of glue in and large glue ups. That's great as well. Of course, we talked about the right glue. One thing that I like to have on hand is a mallet, because sometimes when you're gluing those pieces up and one piece is off by a millimeter or 2, you can give the piece a little bit of a tap with that mallet to kind of get it in line. It's going to have some friction because there's already glue in there, but the mallet helps out with that. Another big thing I love to use and don't do without is paper towels. This sits on my bench on a French cleat that I removed from the French cleat wall, and it comes in handy for getting glue off my hands, getting glue off the project. I can't express to you how important this is, but have paper towels on hand and a trash can that you can toss them in. And another thing is wax paper. I use wax paper to catch any glue that comes down, put it on the bench underneath the surface. You can use construction paper, you can use newspapers. I love wax paper because, as you can see, I've used this a ton of times. It's very reusable. The glue, when it beads up, just comes right off. So I love it. It's very useful. Wax paper, can't say more about it. That's great. But check the checklist of tools within the checklist. The 7th item on the checklist is, when do you remove the clamps? Well, that depends on a lot of factors. Number 1, we can all agree that if you put glue on a project and you come back 24 hours later, it's gonna be fine. Remove the clamps. But we don't always work within that time frame. We wanna be productive. We wanna get other things done in the shop, and we wanna move along with this project. So let me just say this. For Titebond 1 and Titebond 2, or this kind of wood glue, minimum 30 minutes. Hour preferred. And that's what you can do. If you're using Titebond 3, I would say minimum 1 hour, hour and a half to 2 hours preferred, because you have definitely a lot slower glue up time with that one. If you're going to use the CA glue as a clamp, then it only takes about 10 to 20 seconds for that to cure, and you can remove it right away. If you are using brad nails or finish nails or fasteners after you put the glue on to secure your project, well, then as soon as those are in, you can take the clamps off. And that's a really good way to be able to get through your projects a lot faster. But I will say this, that on these bottles and maybe on other types of wood glue, it really doesn't give you much information other than minimum of 30 minutes, longer is better, and this one, minimum 30 minutes. So not real informative. This next one is a true pearl of wisdom that I have acquired over the years of many glue ups, so pay attention carefully. Clean up your entire area in between each glue up. Well, why would you do that? It just takes more work. Trust me, listen to me on this one. I have cabinets that I'm building. I have 5 cabinets, and amongst those 5 cabinets is multiple glue ups. I'll glue this side, then I'll glue this side. Anyways, I will clean the entire area. I will put all of my tools away, minus the clamps. The clamps will be scattered. I'll have piles of clamps here, piles of clamps there. I know I'm gonna reuse them. But when it comes to the paper towels and the wax paper and the glue brushes, I am going to basically put them in a designated location, maybe not in the exact spot, but in a designated location, and clean my surface area. And so that way it is clutter-free. And in a clutter-free environment, we can work a lot better, more efficiently, and make less mistakes. That's just the way it is. You make less mistakes. So clean up your area in between each of your designated glue ups. Trust me. Glue ups are not the only thing that is stressful when it comes to woodworking. Have you ever been to the hardwood store and had a little bit of stress there? I'm sure you have. Well, this video is just for you because I'm gonna go over the 4 things you would never say when you go to the hardwood store. Thanks for watching. Click the video and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.